So we got UFC 253 tomorrow. 2 title fights on there. First one up, we got light heavyweight title fight between Dominic Reyes and Jan Blachowicz. And then the main event, Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa for the middleweight title. The first 3 fights on here, on the main card, should I say, are just really uneventful. Hakeem Dawodu versus Zubaira Tukhugov. Zubaira Tukhugov missed weight by 5 pounds this morning. Ketlin Vieira versus Sejera Eubanks. I don't care. And Kai Kara France versus Brandon Royval. It'll be a decent fight. It's a flyweight fight. It's going to be pretty fast-paced, exciting, but I don't expect to finish. I mean, yeah, I think that this fight has crack streams written all over it, if you know what I'm saying. So we'll just go straight into the co-main light heavyweight title fight between Dominic Reyes and Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz coming in with a 26-8 record. He's a plus 230 underdog. His last three fights, knocked out Luke Rockhold, beat Jacare Souza by a split decision, knocked out Corey Anderson in the first round. And listen, I'm not trying to discredit his power because that's his main attribute in here. But in those last fights, you knocked out Luke Rockhold, who Luke Rockhold, again, does not keep his hands up at all. And the Corey Anderson fight, Corey Anderson came in with a false dawn because he just knocked out Johnny Walker, another guy who doesn't keep his hands up. And all of a sudden, Corey Anderson went in that fight thinking he had the heaviest hands in the division and stood in the pocket with an absolute devastator like Jan Blachowicz and paid the price. He's got that classic kind of Eastern European Muay Thai style. He's a good kickboxer. He's got okay technique. But I'm not necessarily doesn't hold a candle to Dominic Reyes, but Dominic Reyes has the reach advantage. I also think he's got better technique, sharper technique, should I say. Dominic Reyes should be 13-0. I have not met anybody other than those 3 judges that thought John Jones won that last fight against Dominic Reyes. So, I mean, he's got that going for him. Knocked out Chris Weidman, beat Volkan Ozdemir by split decision, beat OSP by split decision, or unanimous decision, should I say. Knocked out Jared Cannonier. So, I mean, Dominic Reyes, he has the credentials. Again, I expect his reach to play advantage here. I don't think he'll stand in the pocket with Jan. I don't necessarily expect a boring fight. It's going to be an exciting stand-up bout, but I expect to go to the distance. Maybe 2 48-47s in Reyes' favor, probably 49-46 in his favor as well. Unanimous decision. I'm taking Dominic Reyes in that fight. Next up, we got the main event. We got Paulo the Eraser Costa taking on Israel's Adesanya. And listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Anyone who knows me, you know I'm not the biggest Israel Adesanya fan. He calls himself this entertainer. He comes out with these stupid dance moves. You just lost a press conference to a guy who's speaking in a second language. His jokes aren't funny. Like yesterday, he said he's going to make Paulo Costa his stepdad. Like, what does that even mean? And the Yoel Romero press conference, he's like, yeah, he's going to crumble like the Twin Towers. I'm like, you can't say that. You are employed by an American company, and pretty much the entire audience that supports you is American. You can't just make fun of 9/11 like that. And apparently he still thinks he has a fan base. It's like, dude, nobody likes you. But nonetheless, I mean, he's an impressive striker. Probably the best counter striker I've ever seen in the UFC. His last fight against Yoel Romero was kind of a sleeper. The Robert Whittaker knockout was impressive because, again, it was just a standard counter strike. Robert Whittaker came in with the charge. He slipped him with something and rocked him, knocked him down. And that was the fight. Kelvin Gastelum, that was fight of the year back in 2019. I mean, yeah, he's undefeated. 19-0, rightfully so. He's one of the best strikers on the planet. But he's taking on Paulo Costa, who, if you don't know, is trained by Eric Albarracin, also known as Captain America, Henry Cejudo's coach. Also coaches both the Pitbull brothers. And the key to victory for Paulo Costa in this fight is he cannot come in and rush like a bull like he has in his last 4 fights. Because Israel Adesanya will just eat him up. There's a reason that we saw this morning. The lines opened up. Israel Adesanya was a minus 160 favorite. Last time I checked, he was minus 195. Because if Paulo Costa goes in, again, charging like a bull, he will pay the price. Nonetheless, I think Eric Albarracin, he's going to have him trained well. I'm anticipating a little bit of almost like the Henry Cejudo versus Dominic Cruz matchup. Dominic Cruz came in with the footwork advantage. I think Israel Adesanya is going to come in with the footwork advantage here. But we saw Henry Cejudo just pepper those leg kicks. And I understand they're different fighters. But if you look at Albarracin, you look at who he coaches, they all kind of have the same type of style, which makes him a little bit vulnerable. But I expect Paulo Costa to just keep marching forward. So there's really not much Israel Adesanya can do about that other than slip and weave. But if you injure those legs, attack the leg kicks early in the first 2 rounds, I think it could be a wrap. I'm expecting a 4th round knockout for Paulo Costa. That's if he keeps his gas tank. If he doesn't get gassed. But again, if he stays patient and waits for those shots, I don't see how Israel Adesanya can beat him in this fight. So again, I'll go with Paulo Costa, 4th round, and new middleweight champion. That's all I got. Enjoy the fights tomorrow. Not the first 3 fights because, again, they're sleepers. But the last 2 fights are going to be very interesting. I definitely encourage you guys to tune in. Have a good one.